I get the pleasure to be in build sessions with MSPs just like you, building real things with AI. And the number one friction point, the number one blocker is I can't connect to all the systems. In fact, my vendor makes an MCP server or a connector or whatever they call it, yet it's read-only. Another one tried it and it limited them to 100 records. How are you going to search for all the tickets when you can only get to 100? If you're tired of vendor connectors and MCP servers holding your business back, check out the MSP Skills Repo. The link is below. It's got over 50 different MCP servers, skills, and connectors that you can use to connect your entire stack to the agentic AI of your choice. Now, why do you care? The reason is you can now go through and say, find all the unused licenses that I'm paying for that I shouldn't be. Would you like it to go through and prep across all your different tools for that QBR? That thing that took you hours to prepare for one client is now one sentence. So if you want to make sure you're getting the value out of AI, you've got to connect it to your real world business systems. And there is no better place than the MSP Skills Repo. Check it out on the link below. And if you have questions or if you just want to join, learn more, come to one of the build sessions. You'll see us putting it into action.
I mean, how much has it helped? It's raised my visibility greatly. I get a lot more leads. Do they close? No, not necessarily. But at least I'm getting the visibility than waiting for a referral that never comes.
Hey guys, Damien Stevens, host of MSP Mindset, founder and CEO of Servacity. Today I am blessed to be joined by Mike Bramm. Now Mike said, look, what do MSPs hate the most? 1, paperwork. 2, marketing. So he decided I'm going to use agentic AI to solve both for me. He managed to build something that runs an entire department for his MSP. It could be applied to your MSP in any area. And as a self-described router jock, he says he's never been a developer, a marketer, yet he built something amazing. So if you would like a steady stream of leads like Mike, or you'd like to take this pattern and apply it to any area in your company, don't miss our deep dive as we screen share and we leave no question unasked. We're here because you shared in one of our build sessions something that's incredibly fascinating to me. And yes, it's AI, but to me, there's a lot to learn there. But to me, what's more interesting is that you weren't a developer or an AI guy or a marketing guy necessarily. If is that right? Would you frame yourself as any of those?
No. I mean, I've been a businessman, for over 25 years. But no, I'm a router jock. I put in networks. I do wide area connectivity. I build private cloud data centers. I build things like that. And then the last 10 years we've gotten into being an MSP, and so I've gone all the way down to desktop. So I'm everything but a developer or marketer, and this is what I've now needed for my business. So I spent the time and effort to build a system up.
So we're gonna look at that system here in a minute. But before we do, you built a marketing system. I know that I'm doing this no justice, right? But let's start with why. Why did you feel like you needed to build something?
Yeah, I mean, everything is going faster every day, every year. Business faster. You got to be quicker. You got to make things happen more. And unless you want to go in debt or sell off large chunks of your company, you just have to get more efficient on everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I chose, the latter. I didn't try, the PE route or all the other stuff that many of my competitors do. So yeah, I had a multiplex. Again, back to networking. I had a multiplex myself. I had to make myself happen more places at the same time, and that's what I looked for with this specifically with marketing. Because I mean, what do techies hate doing. They hate doing paperwork and they hate doing marketing. Right?
Yes.
And what
Yes.
gets you more business? Marketing. Kind of thing,
Right. Right. I can very much relate to that. I feel like you're reading my script over here of like what I'm not good at. Um, yeah. So was there something that led you to build this versus just hire it out or something else?
Oh, through the years, I have spent so much money on marketing people and seen very little return on it all. I mean, I've hired offshore, I've hired consultants, I've hired all over the spectrum. And again, it just felt like throwing money out in the street and getting very little of it, buying content from people and stuff like that. It's just, it was very discouraging. And it had a very little of even what our company was all about involved with it. It was all template stuff kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It could have been any Joe Schmuckatelli out there kind of thing. It wasn't Bomber Jack and Networks kind of thing.
Yeah. 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 Having your DNA in it is important, right?
Yeah.
So what happened and when did it happen that made you go AI and marketing, and I'm going to go learn kind of both of those to solve this, very real business problem?
Sure.
Either one of those is intimidating enough, right? Both of them is it's a different level.
Well, one of the groups I'm part of is called the 20.
Mm-hmm.
It's MSP group, and the guy that runs it, Tim Conkle, it's just the guy that he can talk, he can schmooze, but one of the biggest things of what he has to say is that you got to market. You just got to market, and it's true. I mean, even if you don't want to do it, you have to. If you're not getting your voice out there, you're the best kept secret. And guess what? You're going to be kept a secret. So you have to get some kind of volume in some way, and that's with marketing. And the thing is that, like I said, you hire people and stuff like that and spend all this kind of money and get very little return out of it all. And I just started watching more and more YouTube videos on how to do marketing. And it's like, well, there's this discipline, and then there's that discipline, and there's all these different avenues kind of thing. It's like, I mean, if I was going to hire somebody to do cold reach or warm reach or AEO or whatever, and build my website with all the SEO that it needs to, it was going to cost me, $50,000 plus. Or I could bite the bullet and I could do it myself. And it's obviously, I'm not going to be doing that all myself by like doing HTML coding and stuff like that. So I think a big thing that really triggered for me was last fall, Anthropics came out with Claude Code, and I kind of fell into it. And I had done Chat GPT before that, and I was like, oh, that's cute. Yeah, that's nice. I can have a little buddy that I can talk to, and he can talk back to me. Kind of great. No, it's worthless. But this Claude Code stuff, it was doing cool stuff.
So what happened? Like, did you see somebody using it, and then was that the aha, or was it when you actually used Claude Code yourself? When did you see this is very different?
A marketing guy.
Okay.
So he was much kind of like my background, saying, this isn't our lane. Coding isn't our lane, kind of thing, right? Yeah. He's a marketing guy, so I mean, he's not even a techie. I mean, I'm a techie at least, kind of thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he was doing it. I was like, well, if he can do that with that, I sure in the heck can. And so that's the rabbit hole I went down. A big rabbit hole.
So this occurred, or this big change happened in fall, and then you started using it, and then how long, you're going to show us a system, about how long has this system been in operation?
Beginning of the year, towards the end of first quarter.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. So, and if I want to also ask another thing, which is, it sounds like it's not that you were unwilling to spend money. You're not sitting there going, I am getting some results. I'm just trying to be more efficient or effective with my marketing spend, or I'm just going to bring it in-house all of a sudden. It sounds like you just couldn't get the results you were after, despite investing, significant amount of time and money.
Correct. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right. That's a huge difference. Well, I know we've talked about it. Let's dig into it. Can you share your screen and show us this marketing system? And I don't even know if I'm doing the words justice, because like everything in business, you need process, maybe some form of SOPs, but now you have an entire system that you built from kind of the ground up for tailored to your business to do what you wanted. And I don't use that word system lightly, because we can kind of build systems before, but this is a system that actually does things, right? This is not something you, like you said, chat with. How give us the overview, right? Treat me like I'm new to, I don't know what Cloud Code is, but like AI, here it's doing things. Like, how would you even describe this thing that you built?
I would say it's kind of a Frankenstein kind of thing. So I got my marketing knowledge, or whatever you want to call it, from one group. And then with that sparked all the interests in Cloud Code and such like that. And so then you go down another rabbit hole on all that kind of stuff. And then and then when you learn different people and different viewpoints on that, trying to make something your own. And I fell upon this one group that was getting into OpenClaw big time. But OpenClaw, when it came out, was a disaster to a certain degree, in the sense that it was just wide open. People were trashing it. And, it was a cute little project. And it's refined through the time frame, and there's other competing now projects out there similar to OpenClaw. But anyhow, this group that I worked with was like, well, let's take this idea of OpenClaw, but let's make it more Claude-based, and we'll take pieces of different repositories that you liked and start building it up. So it's like literally a Frankenstein, or making so when you put a bunch of things together like a picture.
Yeah.
But anyhow, it's like
these are all the puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
That you put together.
So you got to think of like memory and structure and interaction and communications and stuff like that. So this was some of the stuff that, and some of the different solutions out there had better things on memory. Some of them had better things on security. So kind of just started cobbling this all together and came up with this system that is neither really just Claude, and it's not really just OpenClaw. We call it Cloud Code. We can put in the show notes the website that the school community I'm part of, that does a great job on this. I would say it's worthwhile joining their group. Anyhow,
yeah.
And so so this is how we built this up. This is Mark's kind of base stuff, but again, even if you looked at his stuff, it wouldn't be like mine, because I tweak my stuff differently than he does, because he's just building the general system and I'm building a marketing system. So this, what you see here, is what's is just a HTML page on the system that lets me interface with the system. And right here, what you would see is the home page of just some stuff of what the system is doing presently on its normal upkeep kind of things. And we can show you some of the heartbeat stuff that we got going on other screens.
For those that are driving and listening to this and not staring at the screen, but we're just for those that would like to hear this more clearly, like what are some of the core areas or things that this does? I know you mentioned AEO, so maybe it does that, but just like what is marketing is a lot, AI is a lot. What does this do?
This page itself, or this
System. Yeah,
system?
I do
The
want to get
system.
into the details, but I just want to try to give everybody an idea of like, what does the system even do?
Yeah. So the system is all about marketing. Okay, so I'll go to my marketing page. And what I did is I had the system create all these different pages to show me, because it can keep all track of that in itself. But obviously, being a human, I need some kind of visual thing.
Yes.
So, especially being a marketing, I made a marketing page that showed me all the different subsystems I made on here. And what is on the screen now is a 4-quadrant page, and each quadrant serves a different kind of marketing principle. And the first quadrant is talking about my domain and how healthy that is when it's looking out at spam filters and such like that. Is bomberjacket.net looking good? The reason why is because I'm also doing cold outreach, and I have on this quadrant my 12 domains that I'm doing outreach, and I'm trying to keep track of that. It's keeping track of it, telling me, are those still looking clean, or are they starting to get a bad reputation? Did I burn a domain that I need to get rid of and bring in another one and warm it up and such? These are all kinds of marketing things with cold outreach. Again, if you go out on YouTube and you start learning about cold outreach, how these systems that these people build up of that, you get a list, and then for the list you got to get the names and all the domains and all the information, and then you got to build up email boxes with avatars on them, and then you got to get domains associated with them, and then you got to start making sequences, and that's all part of this going on right here. Another part on that first part.
That's just the outreach part, right?
Yeah, it's just the outreach. Yeah.
There's a lot there.
Another part on this is my GEO, or what AI sees out there. So I have a connection into something that looks out on the internet and does a read of all the different AI agents looking for topics that I'm associated with, and how do I rank on that? And it's like, well, I found out I rank poorly. It's like, okay, so then how do I counter that? Okay, so now I got to start doing outreach, and there's different things we could talk about that outreach too. That there's all these different lanes.
Okay.
So
I want you cover the kind of the core things, but then I definitely have another question or two before we dig deeper. So, yeah, what are the other? Because again, I'm no marketing expert, but it sounds like a whole department here. You've got AEO and GEO, and you've got cold outreach, and you've got some inbound, and go ahead. I don't want to stop you, but there's a lot going on here.
Yeah. The second quadrant is all content. So you're trying to get, your message out, right? Well, I have associated with my outreach, LinkedIn, X, Google My Business, Facebook, and a blog on our website. So twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, we're putting out content. It's content that I make, and then I have it push it out. So it's my words. I'm not having this just blast out generic stuff again. I mean, previously I bought content from other people, and I was just like any other MSP that was buying that same content from that source. So there was no differentiator. If you look at our content, our delivery system is AI, but the content itself is me. Okay, so
that's an important note, right? Not generating AI slop.
Exactly. But even just taking the time to get it out there, it just takes forever, kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And just recently, I've gotten into doing videos, so that I still have to do manually. I mean, not make the videos, but do the storyboard, and as much in line with what my content is. But you make a storyboard, it generates the video, and then I upload that also, because that is actually one of the big things that AI looks for, is that looks out at YouTube and with the keywords that you are working on. Quadrant 3 and 4. 3 is mostly just keeping track of my outreach. I do have one thing with warm outreach, and what that is that if people stop by my website, we're able to see who those people are, and then I can reach out to them saying, hey, thanks for stopping by. Is there anything else we can do for you, kind of stuff? And, in the old days, people thought that was creepy kind of stuff, right? Well, people don't think they're being tracked. They're clueless, kind of stuff, right? So I don't feel that way. And I actually got a drawing of that I can show you. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can read the pixels when somebody stops by this upper corner here, and then that comes into our funnel, and then from our funnel, it goes either out to Smart Leads or my LinkedIn, and we do links that way. So that's our warm outreach. And on the bottom, I got a cold outreach, which we then have different sources of leads. Then we enrich it, make contents, verify it so that we don't get hit as spammers and just spewing stuff. We're trying to really make a real connection to people, fighting through all the different stuff. And then we go through that through our LinkedIn and cold outreach.
Tons of detail there.
Excuse me?
Yeah, there's a lot there. There's a ton of detail. I want to ask a question or two before you get further. There's just a lot of misinformation or myth. And we're both talking about Claude Code because we both use it. And unfortunately, the name code is in there. And you talked about you don't have to be the guy that writes the code, right? It wrote the dashboards and other things like that. But I found that people assume it's either for developers, which you've said you're not, and or even if you use it, it's really to build, a website or an app, which you can do. But what I want to dispel is by asking you this question: does Claude Code only write code, or is it actually doing some of the marketing work like a person would?
It's executing things. So you could say it's doing marketing because, doing the process.
Right. It's running a process.
Right? Yeah, it's doing the process, right? It's writing code. It's doing the process. So in that sense, I guess, yes. But it's not like, it's not creating the ideas. It's riffing on my ideas. You know what I mean? I'm the creativity center, right? And
that's the key. That you took me right where, because I think there's some people that think Claude Code is for code only, and you brought Claude in and said you're going to run processes, you're going to run workflows, because I look at the level of detail and you have best practices baked in on all these areas, and I'm just thinking this is at least a couple full-time people working for you to pull this off. Yet, you've got Claude executing on like the, carrying the buckets of water. And then I have other people that go, oh, cool. Whether it's Claude Code or something else, I'll just automate everything. And then, like you said, it's your content, right? You got to have that human in the loop. You want to be the approval, because if we can all automate everything, then nothing's differentiated. So I found people that are like, oh, Claude Code is for coders. And I feel like most people are missing out that you can actually run, entire departments, and maybe not the entire department, right? You had to have the idea. It had to riff off of you. You have to approve the content, right? So I think it comes down to some people think it's only for code. And then on the other side, then they go, well, this thing can do everything. And I don't, the funny one I always come back to is somebody, typed a prompt. It's like, make me $1 million, make no mistakes, and so, obviously there's human judgment, right? There's the human in the loop to say, am I shipping slop, or is this what I would write? Or is this my content? So I love that you've built an elaborate marketing system. You've learned all these marketing things and you've baked them in. That's where you've brought your judgment, because like you said, you follow this channel and this school community, and you put those pieces together, your insights, and then your own DNA around being a router jock and, what your company looks like. So, help me understand, if you don't mind, like now that we've said that, like this would be several people, I would imagine. So what?
Yeah. I mean,
where are you in the loop? Like, where do you give it ideas or approve things? Like where does this do things? And more importantly, where do you stay in the loop?
I have I'm the one that, again, generates the idea of what we're doing, kind of thing. What's the messaging? The messaging is me, okay? And so then after it's the messaging, it's like we have to create a structure, a system. I forget what the author's name, but it was like, I don't know, 10 years ago, there was a big time author talking about systems. I don't know if you remember that, but everything was, that's where SOPs come from. Everything's a system, right? I mean, you need to have a structure kind of thing, right? That's how I executed this. I mean, using creativity, but everything is structured to a certain thing, and that we have all these processes in place that this is delivered, this content is delivered, this is how we're going to execute it, and these are all the systems that go with it, and again, systems kind of stuff, right? And so that's these are all what we're seeing as subsystems, and maybe even subsystems of subsystems, because it depends on how granular you go down with all of it, or have to go granular down to certain things. But it's like, I mean, what we talk about in your MSP building group, it's like, you got an SOP, you can take that and you can then make that into a process just like this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And let it run with it kind of stuff.
That's exactly right.
Is that what
No, I love that. I love that you said that. I think I interrupted you. Is there any more of the core, like the high level, what this marketing system does that we missed?
The rest of it all is kind of all just housekeeping. I mean, these are campaigns, email campaigns you're saying here, and lists building and stuff like that on that. I mean, the rest of it is kind of like just the infrastructure of it all. And I don't know if that would bore people or such like that, but there's just, I have a team.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's kind of funny. So I have my chief of staff kind of thing. And that's the one that all my other agents have to talk to. I have a chief marketing officer. I have a chief security officer. You can read it yourself, kind of stuff that's on there. Or for the people listening, a chief technology officer, coders kind of thing. Everybody reports up to the chief of staff, and then it flows back down again, stuff like that. So when I built this, it was like I knew that this was going to be a big thing and I wasn't going to spend a bunch of time building this up to let somebody come around and just trash it.
Right.
What I mean by that is, I remember the first web server I put on the internet back in like 95, right? And somebody got into it, and I'm literally watching on my screen, and they're messing with my server, and I was just mad. I was just mad about it all, and finally I just had to pull the plug and stuff like that, and it just irritated me. So again, mental scars to that. When I was going to build this up, I wasn't going to spend all this time to let somebody just come and do a prompt injection and mess with it. So actually, after my chief of staff, my first agent was a security officer.
Right.
And what that security officer does is it's checking the code. It's looking out the internet for any kind of critical kind of things. I think we might even have one critical that's open right now. Yeah, we have one critical, a couple highs, mediums, and stuff like that. But these are things that usually at the end of my subscription of the week, we burn up the rest of my subscription on cleaning up the system kind of stuff. But I have a security officer that is on top of this, and we have gates built up, like multiple gates. And it can be kind of maddening to a certain degree, meaning that they're like literally, if you were thinking of a stockyard with gates, with moving cattle through it all and stuff like that, it's kind of like that with the processes. Like if one of the agents goes out and does something and brings it back, it's what's that called, man room or stuff like that in a data center where you can't.
Man trap type of room.
Man trap. It's man trapped until it can, and it's checked out. Okay, now you can proceed, kind of stuff. The same kind of concepts that we have here built up into the system, and it can be kind of maddening to a certain thing because things don't flow quickly. But that's the price you pay for security, and knock on wood, we don't get. We're going to do our utmost not to get hacked. Okay.
You had the battle scars. You had the battle scars to set up the security officer first.
Yeah.
This is also not running on your machine, right?
Correct. This is a standalone box that does not have any hooked up to any of my systems. This is just a marketing outreach. So none of my clients' systems, none of my clients' information is on this. This is just marketing outreach machine kind of thing.
Right. So in terms of blast radius, right, you're doing all this to protect it, but if it got somehow owned, it has no connection to customers. You don't have it connected to all your other systems, right? You're not saying, here's my RMM, do whatever you want to do. And you also did something most people don't do, which is we all kind of know, but it buys you a lot of security, which is make it its own box, right? Because we start on our own machine, and then we don't often want to move it. So you started with a dedicated machine, kind of have it firewalled, for lack of a better way of saying that, off. You've got the security officer. I think so many people get into this. Like we've talked about, you built an amazing best practices in marketing and AI. Yet, if somebody just could come in and ruin it, this would be all for nothing. If you're doing this, the other thing is, I don't know all the things your system does, but you're sending emails. I think you're reading emails. Anybody could send you something that could be used as prompt injection. You're going out and having it search the internet to see how you rank and how other sites are, and all other there's a lot of content that some of your agents, right, consume that are not fully under your control, whether it's email or over the regular internet. So, it's prompt injection is not the only risk, but it's interesting the level of that somebody's building a marketing system would start with security, and I think it's needed because we're still very early. Security will always be needed, but we're very, very early. And I suspect the marketing guys won't start with security CSO.
No, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, my chief security officer, quite honestly, is kind of a jerk.
He won't let us play.
It's the taskmaster is like, block, you cannot do that. If you do it the proper way, then we'll unblock you. And it's like, okay, and it's not necessarily me, but whatever agent's doing what. Obviously, I could tell it. No, you're going to do what I say.
Right.
But
you need him to be that.
Yeah, he'll push back on me. Quite honestly, it's like, no, I know what I'm doing. Do this, okay? But it's again, put a lot of time and effort in this, and I don't want to see it messed up, kind of stuff. So yeah, we got a couple more other agents doing content research, like you're asking. I got a QA, quality assurance, so they're checking the code, making sure that things are running, or that our CTO or our coder messed up on, doing verification checks, where it's always check kind of stuff. It's just not.
When is the reason that matters? I just want to ask this, Mike. Is the reason that matters because you created the system, right? In other words, this is not an off-the-shelf. You had it write the software that then is not pure software. It also uses AI. right? But it's doing all those. And so if you need to make a change, it's yours. You can change it, but you need to make sure the software has quality and meets certain bars.
Yeah, I mean, but it's unique. I mean, you're not going to see another system like this. I mean, if someone builds up their own, theirs is going to be different. I mean, they can use the same principles, but it's going to have like a different personality, just like a business. Every business has its own little personality kind of thing, right?
Right.
Your system's going to have a different personality than mine just because of how it's built up.
So what the heck are we looking at now?
This is the agents talking to each other. This is what's called the hive mind. So when they're communicating with each other, this is my chief of staff down here. As you see, is the center of the world. And then of the different agents out here, so like this is my chief marketing officer. And so I have what's called department heads. So the chief security, technology, marketing are all department head type of agents. And then underneath them, they have what I call doer agents. These are agents that are tasked to do something like content or research kind of stuff. And that's their only function, is to go do research and bring it back to whatever department head it is. And that department head makes a decision. And then it asks the chief of staff, this is what we want to do, and it gets the thumbs up or thumbs down kind of concept to all that.
That's so, all right, hive mind. It sounds really cool. It looks impressive. What the heck does that even mean? And like, why did you need it?
Oh, it's because it's cool. That's the only reason. No, do you need that? No, I mean, I see people even make it so that's like shaped like a brain, and it's like little lights are lighting up on the brain. It's like, that's a little far,
Right. But this is a graph, right? So there's a function it serves, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It's telling me that they're communicating well, and I'm seeing who's busy and who's not. I mean, my chief marketing officer should have more connections, but I've been busy doing it.
So each line is like a line of communication that's happening concurrently?
Correct.
Okay. So you already talked about security, and then the hive mind it's another way to observe what's going on.
Correct. Yeah, it's an internal communication. So all the agents have a ticketing system of when they're communicating with each other. They come up with a number, a hive number, and then they talk to each other, keeping track of those tickets kind of stuff, just like you would with an MSP on tickets coming in from your clients, right? The ticket comes in, you work the ticket, you close the ticket. Same thing with this. The ticket requests come in, ticket gets sent, gets worked on, gets closed. Closeout is sent back to close the ticket. So I'm actually moving to a different system for ticketing. It's called linear, and this was more like out of the box kind of thing. And it sometimes can be a little laggy and such like that, and not probably as robust as I like it. So I'm going to go to this other system that then can keep track of it. It's more visual. I'm just building that up. And it's going to look like, so yeah, this will be filled up later on with different things on tasks that they're doing and open tasks, status of those tasks, and it'll be kind of just like you saw them with our security. So basically, this security stuff will all move over to linear. Our tasks that we do, these are things that we're going to be working on. Those will all move over to linear. The reason why I don't like it on these pages like we have, it's very static. It's not being updated until I'm telling my chief of staff, why is this ticket still open? Oh, no, that's closed. And stuff gets stale kind of stuff, right? So in linear, it'll be much more interactive with the agents closing and such like that.
So
So
I want to tie a couple of things together. You showed us this team, which is for some people very odd, right? But you needed to name roles and what they do and even their structure. They report. Maybe there's more. It looked like there was at least 8 or 9 different agents, collaborating, doing things. And then like a lot like humans, they have a ticket system to assign work and do work and hopefully close the ticket when they do that. My question is, like, how do you interact? Do you go into your terminal and type into this like Claude Code? Do you give it a new ticket or a task? Like how do
sure,
you actually use this system? Like, you don't have to tell us the whole thing, but I'm just curious. When I see it all working in the background and being magical right now, but I'm kind of curious, where does Mike come in?
sure. The human interaction, right? Is
Yeah.
Human interface. And so the human interface with this is what's called Telegram. It's kind of just like your Signal, WhatsApp on your phone, texting people kind of stuff, right? And so then this is my chief of staff, and this is how we communicate over this. And so these were our last updates communicating with each other, and I was not happy with how some of the things went with some of the last things they did. So I was explaining to them that it wasn't happy with it. And then this is our chief security officer, and it's, stating things that, I accepted this as being valid or not being valid and stuff like that. And QA, same thing. It checked out something, and now it's reporting back. So what you saw in the hive mind, this is kind of lets the human see it aspect of it all. And you'll see these ticket numbers on here. So everything's run, again, with tickets kind of thing, right? So it's all being kept, I get kept aware of what's going on that way.
So you're using Telegram. Is that right? So you're chatting a lot like you would in Teams or Slack with people, but you're chatting with your agents and you're giving them instructions. And then, like other people, they might create tickets and do tickets and update those. So then, and then because of Telegram, I guess you could do that from your phone or wherever you choose.
I am. I'm going to be, though, probably moving to a private server of that. That is called Mattermost. And this Mattermost would replace the Telegram. What I don't like about Telegram is it's closed and contained, but every once in a while I get these random people that will jump into my group. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Not cool, block, you're out of here. And they're almost gone immediately. But they could do something bad to the system. And so I got a couple of blocks on that too. So.
Okay. So that's how you interact with the system. It's interesting to me that, like, you have a team and they have roles like people and they work tickets like people and you chat with them like people. They're not, but it is interesting to see because I couldn't keep this many tabs open with like terminals or whatever sessions and try to keep up with what's going on. On that note, what's a normal week look like? Like, in terms of how much time do you spend to make this marketing stuff happen? Not necessarily build the new system, but just like you have this elaborate marketing system. I'm curious if this is your full-time job or what?
No, I mean, I have to do real people stuff. I have to do coding, and I have to talk to customers, and I have to go out on sites and interact with people and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of it. I mean, I got scheduling certain things. These are cron jobs that certain things get done at certain times. So we get scans every 4 hours. That security scan that I was telling you about. We check memory, so we build up memory for some of the agents. So our CMO and our chief of staff actually has a couple layers of memory. So they're actually learning and getting better at their job as they go along, kind of things. It's
Yes,
literally
this is not RAM sticks for all of us guys used to hardware, and this is some form of context engineering, and that's just fancy term for saying they understand enough about your business, their role, maybe what they're working on. Right? Is that accurate for what you're doing?
Yeah, and they're supposed to strive to be even better at that, to continue trying to do what they just did even better the next time they do it.
Mm. This is amazing. My question is how long did it take you to build this? And I'm be surprised if you have a count of hours. But what I mean is, did you build this over a year, or like, what would you say?
I'd say the last 9 months, maybe 10, that I really hit it hard. And I do spend a lot of time at this, but also I have my output overall has increased dramatically. My visibility has risen, you know, greatly. So, you ask my wife, she'd probably say, "Yeah, whatever. He spends too much time on it." But on the flip side, there's been payback. It pays back in aces.
Yeah, that's what I want to get into that. Before I do, I don't know if you like help us understand if somebody were doing this, or like in your actual experience, is this something you spend like a day a week on, or like 30 minutes a week? Like how long do you spend interacting with your chief of staff or whatever to get these outcomes you're talking about?
Well, it's the analogy of building anything. It's brick by brick, right?
Right.
So it's not like I'm just interacting with the chief of staff. I'm adding a new feature, or I'm refining one aspect of it, kind of thing. If that can make sense. And myself striving it to be better, kind of stuff. I mean, could I just let it run the way it is? Probably, but then I mean, do I need to put linear in? No, but it's going to make the system better, run better, and become more efficient.
You're upgrading the plane as you fly it.
Very much so.
Which is very, very something I can relate to. But I'm curious, like outside of like that, just give me a sense. Like, I don't know the exact, but like, I'm curious if you have to spend half your time just to get this marketing output, or if it's, what that looks like, just because you understand you have to approve the content. You have to come up with ideas, right? There's some things that you shouldn't outsource. And that takes time no matter what, AI or not.
Well, the old saying is that you have to work on your business and not necessarily be in the business.
Yes.
Right? So, well, I have to do both. So then I spend, my days working in the business, and I spend my evenings working on the business, because that's just what be able to. Now that I'm older and I don't have to worry about kids and such like that, I can do that. Okay. Someone's younger, there was stuff that I put my kids to bed and then do the things like this. But it always being there for them is an important thing.
So what kind of outcomes have you seen, right? You got, like, what I love about it is you're not just doing kind of AEO, search engine optimization, those kind of things, so people find you and come to you, which is awesome. But you've got warm outreach, cold outreach, right? You're not just waiting on that. Like you're using multiple avenues, kind of inbound and outbound best practices to have people find you, understand when they find you. All of that is like the means to the end. So I'm curious, because I think the average MSP gets like 1 or 2 leads a quarter, maybe. Maybe that's aggressive. Sometimes 1 or 2 a year. So I don't know, however you want to answer this. You don't have to tell us leads or outcomes, but I'm curious, like, what kind of difference has this made from a marketing perspective?
Well, let's put it this way. A competitor of mine said just recently, we were going to do a presentation together with a local university. And my competitor introduced me to him, to this university person, and said, "This is my most fierce competitor."
Nice.
And I took that as a badge of honor when he said that. And I actually like the guy. So I said to him, I said, if you weren't my competitor, I'd really like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how much has it helped? It's raised my visibility greatly. I get a lot more leads. Do they close? No, not necessarily. But at least I'm getting the visibility than waiting for a referral that never comes or such like that. Because that's how most MSPs grow, is through referrals kind of thing, right? And it's just could be just a good way to die on the vine, quite honestly, or just be static. That's for sure.
Are you getting more benefit or more leads or more whatever than before when you hired this out?
Oh yeah. I never ran the numbers, quite honestly, so I'll have to think about that in the future. But just people even stopping by the website, you know what I'm saying? And knowing that now, before I never tracked it, right?
Yeah. It's you're very, very passionate, you're very driven and unique, Mike. So I'm curious, like, a lot of people just coast. A lot of people just play more golf or whatever they're, like, what is it that you said, like, I want to do this?
I like creating stuff. I just like networks. I mean, and just IT period. I mean, I would say that I think that most people are very creative persons on like troubleshooting, isolating, building. I mean, again, that's why most IT guys, hate paperwork, because it's not cool. It's not sexy, right?
Yeah.
But especially with one of my big lanes of my company is compliance. Well, that is all paperwork. It's all tracking things. It's all tutoring people kind of stuff. It's all those kind of things. So yeah, it's what I like doing.
If somebody's listening to this and they're going, wow, this is, because I feel like maybe I have an interest in aviation, but you've built a 747 or whatever the latest, you built this amazing thing that's complex in terms of if you're new to it. But for folks that are what I would call chatting with AI, but now they've seen this, they get ideas and they could do this not only in marketing, right? They could do this in other areas of their business. What would you recommend?
Well, I think most techies would think operations. And you could. Obviously you have to put in a lot more guardrails because you don't want it to go off the rails and trash your clients, right? But you could. I mean, there's plenty of things you could do. You could do it for customer service. You had a podcast with a gentleman that does QBRs. You can do links into all your systems and just pull the data. Don't give it rights to do any writes. It just reads, and let it pull down all the data and aggregate that all into your reports when you're talking to your clients.
Well, let me ask you this, though. This is a lot. Multi-agent teams and ticket taking and, talking from it remotely. I don't think you have to start with where you are now. So I'm curious, like, what would you say to folks that are kind of like you said, you were chatting with AI and then you had this like, oh, wow, there was a good moment. Where should somebody like that start?
Not here. Unless you want to go down a big rabbit hole and then cool, rock on kind of thing, right?
Right.
But no, a good spot is something like what Anthropics calls Claude Cowork. Is probably a good idea of trying to figure out sequencing and such. I mean, lots of times when you talk to people about what's your workflow, right? Then they're like, oh, I got to figure out all my workflow, blah, kind of stuff, right? But if you can, fight through that resistance to do such, Cowork, when I'm doing responding to emails or such, I just get done with a meeting. I have a couple different templates set up for different scenarios, and then it personalizes it to that last meeting, saying that thank you for meeting us on this certain date. Here's the information we discussed, and here's some additional collateral that we think you might find interesting, and boom. And now, could you just make those templates? Sure, but then you got to tweak them, then you got to find them, and it's just a drag kind of thing, right?
Right.
Where Cowork, minimally, just make it read, not write, but you can tell it they can read your email, and then at that point, it makes that email, maybe even draft it, and then you look at it. Obviously, you check it. You don't just let it send it out, right? And you verify it. And then if it looks cool, you send it, right? Kind of thing. I would say that would be a great stepping stone for someone to start. I mean, it's so Claude work. I believe ChatGPT has something too.
Yeah. Work.
Is it just called Work? Okay.
Yeah. Work and Cowork, depending on which one of those you're talking. Yeah. The naming is not too different. I'll put you on the spot here, but say whatever is comes to mind. Have you found us and you've joined the build sessions and you've kept showing up? For folks that haven't been there, like I'm just curious, like why do you keep showing up? And I mean that in a nice way, but like what is it that gives you value there?
You pick up nuggets here and there. What I like about interacting with different people, different thoughts, different methods. Case in point, your Connect MCP, right? Connection tool,
Yep.
is awesome, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. I was looking to connect to sites that don't have APIs and that I need to use a cookie to be able to make a connection to a site continuously. And so I took your tool and I gave it to my Claude Code and I said, I like this, but it's not doing what I want it to do. I want it to do that. And it said, this guy really knows what he's doing. It literally said that. I wanted to tell you that.
That's funny.
This is some really good coding.
That's funny.
So kudos to you. And it said, yeah, we can do that. And it started, taking some of the things that you had, some of the security aspects on the Windows and keeping it safe and stuff like that, and added stuff that I wanted. Yeah, so stuff like that.
The funny part is it probably was impressed with the code that Claude Code wrote. Like everything, it was my idea. Like this is your idea, but then you have it do some of that execution. I appreciate that. Just getting your input on the build sessions. I get the same thing out of it, right? I learned from you. You showed off in our build session and people got to ask questions. So that's also something you can do there. I'm curious, like, where do you go from here? Like where you've built this amazing system, and I'm curious what you see for you in the future.
Probably moving to sales, so that when I'm on sales call, I'm So I got 2 screens up right now, and that's not enough.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to go to 4, which is insane, I realize, but I will have screens up. And so when I'm talking, I'm not the most articulate. I'm not the most, the brightest bulb on the tree, but I do okay. But the thing is that I want to be able to, have the information there when I'm talking so that I don't get sidetracked kind of stuff. So that's probably where I'll go next, is that while I'm doing my presentations, or if I'm working on, a couple different things, I'll have, something working over here and working over there on these screens. But especially when I'm doing presentations, and I do assessments too. So when we do assessments on people's environments or cybersecurity environments, then I have, a document to open. Then I have, the person on the screen on another one. And then I will have, things that I'm writing my notes on. So I'll need, could you have it all smashed into a couple of different screens? It becomes a hassle. It's easier just having more screens. But yeah, no, I could see sales and then analyzing my sales. It's like, Bramm, you messed up on that. You should have said this. Which I do many a time.
I love what you said, because you have to have the humility to even recognize there's room for improvement, and not everybody is in that boat. The other thing is, almost all of us have some kind of AI note taker in the room, and almost none of us do anything with it. Right? Maybe we get a next step or something, but like we're not leveraging. Yeah, there you go. Like every meeting could be an improvement. As the AI agents are capable of coaching you, determining where you can improve, not just figuring out next steps, right? So I think that's an example of widely used AI where I know for a while I was like, I don't know, I've recorded tons, but I'd, just every once in a while send a link to somebody to ask for it, or a team member, or, occasionally, but I was like, I don't know, if I had 20 meetings a week, I probably looked at 1 or 2, not. Yeah. So there's just a ton more. And that was actually my first lean into kind of agentic engineering was I need to save time, and I need this to do something with those. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I'm going to ask this, like, do you have world domination plans where you're going to become a marketing guy for MSPs or well, I say that because, like, first of all, I'm sure probably just about any MSP could use your system. Second of all, most of us don't want to put the time in you did and don't have the knowledge. And then I don't know if it's that, or also just I thought about every MSPs, you're not usually, maybe some, but you're usually not marketing nationally. You're marketing in a geography. So every other business that fits that, from attorneys to CPAs to so many businesses I'm not even thinking of, probably need something like what you have. Right. So I don't, it's yours. You built it. You can do whatever you want with it. But I'm just curious, like, did you build this? You obviously built this to solve your own problem, but have you entertained, thoughts of doing other things with it?
As time goes along, these things get to be such commoditized. You know what I mean? I could probably find something on the net already that would be kind of close to it. Not exactly, obviously. I could get silos, these in silos kind of thing. Then I'd have to try to work it all together. But so that's why, maybe or such. What I really want is better hardware, meaning get some NVIDIA Sparks and have local models, so I'm not keep on throwing my money at Anthropic's kind of stuff, right? That's actually what I want to do next. And I've tried it with the box I have. I have a GPU on it with just 12 gig RAM on it, and it can do Olama okay. I use it for my list scrubber, but it's not enough horsepower. It can't do it. And so I want more boxes. I want that team that you saw to be a cluster of a couple of them cranking out and cleaning lists. Unfortunately, with my business, I have kind of like two different avenues. What I mean by that is I have my local MSP, or we even do national clients too. But I do assessments all over the country for a compliance called CMMC, which is the defense industry base assessments. Even though it's on pause right now, who knows what the future will bring. But I was having to go national. That was one of the real reasons, is because I'm one of 104 companies that could do those assessments, right? Well,
So
I thought it was going to be like a field of dreams kind of thing, right? I built it and they would come. So I got it all built, and it was like crickets.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, drag. I got to do some marketing. So that's really was the motivating factor of this. And like I said, I was the prettiest girl at the dance. And then with all these suitors, but all of a sudden the music stopped and everybody went home. And that's what I mean by that is the defense industry, or the Department of War, was making it mandatory that their contractors had to be assessed by companies like me to make sure they're not having bad cybersecurity. Well, they withdrew that, or they suspended that right now. So we were like just cranking, and it was just all of a sudden it was like you hit a brick wall. That's the craziest thing. So, I mean, I can use this again, like, for local stuff too, but things evolve. And so that's why I had to go national. In that
Interesting. So, you're not just using it for local. That's a pretty big difference when you're doing national CMMC level marketing. It's also pretty, I think, amazing when you're dealing with CMMC level compliance that you should even build a system like this, because there's so many people that, for compliance or security or maybe just fear reasons, they never really start on something like what you ended up building. So
I mean, again, I come with a security background, right? I mean, I've been putting firewalls in, Al Gore said he built the internet. No, I did.
One firewall at a time.
Yeah, exactly. One circuit, one firewall, one router.
Yeah. That is so cool. If folks want to find you online, connect with you, what have you, obviously with your marketing, you've made that much easier, but where should they look you up or connect with you, or what do you recommend?
I'm on LinkedIn, X, Google My Business, everything you saw on the list there. And our website is www.bomberjacket.net.
For me, my takeaway, I love this, Mike, is if there's a real need, whether it's marketing, whether it's your operations or your support or your development or whatever, areas of your business, you've really built a multi-agent team. It sounds like you can do a lot of things to augment your business. And it sounds like, at least in your experience, things that you couldn't have done before, you tried with so many outsourced places. That's what's, to me, my main takeaway. So thank you for this. Take Mike up on his offer to connect. He's a wealth of knowledge. And thank you so much for being on MSP Mindset.
And I want to thank you for inviting me. I've been a longtime listener, and so you do great work.
Yeah, that's really cool. I appreciate this. I think you said you found us from that, so it's kind of cool to see this, loop close on itself.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike.